Yeah. All right. So maybe we don't have to speed up that fast. Let's take a minute. There's a couple more questions.
Yeah.
Why do they disappear between? Um, well, the ones I wanted to put up. Oh, this question, Jake, you can clarify, but I'm guessing this is getting at how much of the because I posted your spreadsheet that you had put up.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, Jake, you're asking how much of that financial information do you share with your employees? I'd like to know because I know some companies are like there's a guy H.J. Holtz that runs a like open book, somewhat like profit sharing model.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Profit sharing model is probably good one day. Um, I don't hide it from them, and I don't necessarily put it out there. Um, I do review our numbers, like so with my foreman, they'll get more transparency. Um, Typically, it's people that have done side jobs or worked for themselves. They understand what the real numbers are. If a project's 10 grand, they know that's not 10 grand in my pocket. You know.
yeah.
All right,
What?
he can post in what he did mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Put it in the little question so I can put it up later.
But I do have some, like I said, I don't hide it at all. If the guys want to know how much this project cost, I'll tell them. You know, I'll tell them how much it costs for materials, approximately how much it should cost for labor. Um, so we've messed around with bonus structures from time to time, and the latest one that we were using was based off of what our margin is. You know, this is what my budget is for labor. If you guys come in under this, you get whatever's left over, right? Um, if you come in over this, you get a talking to, you know. Um, but it was like the same people that were losing money all the time were always losing money all the time, you know. Um, but yeah, we have messed around with stuff like that.
Jake, please clarify. All right. Um, Someone was asking about percent profit margins, percentages, gross. Like, what is your gross profit goals to equal certain net profits? Like, you have all that sort of worked out. I'm sure you do. You have spreadsheets galore.
Yes. Yeah. So our numbers, I think, are pretty standard for the industry. Like if you talk to any bigger companies, we're aiming for like 45% for our labor cost, 15% for our materials. And then our net profit right now is hovering in the 15% range. I think that leaves our overhead around 20%. So then our gross profit would be 35%, net profit 15. So 20% is overhead. That's paying all the bills, estimator, whatever, you know, equipment, maintenance, all that stuff. But yeah, we're trying to keep our labor is the biggest fluctuating number. Our materials are 15% like to a T. You know, every now and then it might be 13%. Once in a while it might be 16, but 15% is highly accurate, like year over year. You know, I don't know how that number keeps staying the same, but it's really accurate. Yeah.
Jake wanted his question was a piece of advice for employees. Let's start there. A piece of advice for employees.
Employees, make yourself valuable.
Yes.
With every employee that I hire, period, forever, I tell them the same thing. Like, you know, um, after they're hired, you know, is like, look, if you make yourself valuable, I'm going to do whatever I can to never let you go. Right? Make yourself valuable to me, and I don't expect a lot, right? But if you're reliable, that's really valuable to me. If you're on time and every now and then we have a project that runs late and you can stay till 5:30 and get it wrapped up and clean it up. That's really valuable to me. You know, I don't need you to be a highly skilled painter. Um, for me, my value is in your character, how you treat the client, how you work with the other guys, how you clean up, being on time, like being flexible, whatever. That stuff's really valuable to me. So you can be an apprentice and be highly valuable to me. but that's basically the spiel I give everyone, right? It's like, make yourself valuable to me. You know, if you're an average guy, I need average guys too. I can keep you forever at 15 bucks an hour, 16 bucks an hour. I'll keep you busy for the rest of your life if you want to be at that level, right? No problem. That's fine by me. I need those guys. Um, but if you're one of those guys and you want to go somewhere else for $1 more and you ask me for $1 more, I'm probably not going to give it to you, because I could get another average person, right? But if you're an apprentice and you're really reliable and valuable to me and everybody likes working with you and clients like you, and you say you want $1 more, I'm probably going to give it to you because I want to keep you on board, right? I want to keep you with us. I see value in investing in you. Make yourself valuable. That's probably the biggest thing for an employee. Like whatever it is, it's probably reliability, I would imagine, is most important for most business owners. Being somebody you can count on. That's most valuable to me, though, for sure. Above painting skill is reliability.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. I think there's nothing better than knowing that, than not worrying about if someone's showing up today.
Absolutely.
Once you've had someone that you're worrying is showing up,
yeah,
it makes you grateful for the guys that, yeah, I'm not worried if I'm going to get a call.
Right.
Going to be an issue.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. For business owners, piece of advice for business owners. It probably would still be track your numbers. But I think maybe a little more creative answer would be figure out how you want to be perceived, like what impression you want to give people about your business. Do you want to be just a can-do guy? We can do everything. We're small. We're mom and pop shop. We're craftsman style. Everything's in-house. We don't sub anything out. We can whatever, like that kind of style. You could still scale that, but it's probably a little harder. But like, what kind of image do you want to put out there? Because that starts pretty early. I think it's pretty hard to change once you're into it. Someone like Shoreline, that's a pretty hard position to be in, to be at that scale and that high end. Like it's not that's not that common of
it's
company.
Exceedingly rare.
Yeah. I mean, even a small company that does that high end of work is not that common, right? Let alone scaling that up. Yeah, but I think that whatever image you want to put out there is really important. If you're planning on being in the business long term, figure out what kind of image you want to have and then protect it, promote it. For me, I wanted to be reliable. That's what I value. That's what I place importance on. It was beat into my head when I'm a one-man shop and I show up on time and it's like, wow, you're the only guy who showed up on time. Wow, you're the only guy who answered the phone. Like those things are valuable to me. If I have an appointment at 5:00 and I'm going to be there at 5:02, I'm going to call the client ahead of time and say, hey, it looks like I'm going to be there about 5:02, right? Because for me, if I have an appointment at 5:00 and 5:00 comes and goes and 5:01, 5:02, I'm like, I don't even know if this person's going to show up or not, right? It's like, give somebody a heads up. But for me, I wanted to be reliable and dependable and you can count on me. And, at this stage, it's like, I'll be honest with people. Like we can make mistakes. We're a 20 employee company. Mistakes can happen, but we also fix them all. Like it's a non-issue. It's not even a question for me, right? Like we've been in business for 16 years, 17 years, and we're not going anywhere. If a mistake happens, I'll take care of it 100%. We stand behind our work. We give warranties on our work. It's not even a question with us. I tell people my reputation is extremely important to me, and I want to maintain it. I want to give them some reason to believe me. My reputation is really valuable to me. If it costs me $100 to fix something, it's no problem. We'll do it every day, right? But yeah, I think the image that you want to put out there is really important.
I agree. I think it's important to not be everything to everybody and figure
Yeah.
out who it is that you serve well, and then hyper focus on just them. And those other people that are in the corner giving you feedback, your prices are too high, or your price, or whatever the feedback is, if it's not coming from your ideal client,
Right.
it's not easy to do, but you got to ignore it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, that's a good point. That's exactly for us. We're not, we tell people flat out, like, we're not a bargain company. We're not, we do high quality work. We pay more money for materials. We buy higher quality stuff. If you need something like a blow and go project, we're not going to be right for you, and that, you could call somebody else and probably pay $1,000 less than us and get a fine job for what you're looking for. We're just not the right fit, because I don't want to waste my time or their time going to look at this project. It's not, we definitely have a client type, and we couldn't, so if we go an hour inland, there's a whole different market, right? Like, we could not duplicate our business there. We can go south along the coast and north along the coast. We can duplicate there, but not inland. It's a different demographic. It's less money. We wouldn't work there. Like, I couldn't charge enough. They wouldn't pay enough. So it's definitely, knowing your market and try not to deviate from that, for sure.
Yeah. And it's so key to know and make sure that everything you do aligns with it.
Yeah.
And not everything but two things align with serving my client.
Yeah.
Because people go, well, I liked everything was perfect, but those two things make me not trust now.
Yes, absolutely.
If you're doing super high quality work and your customer service is amazing, your client communication is great, and then you show up in this like beat up old truck.
Right. Yeah.
They're like, wait a second, that doesn't line up with all the things that I experienced, and it's harder to get trust.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. I think that we're about out of questions there. So somebody else asked one up. If you guys have more questions, feel free. But so we did our DIY tip. I'm going to make an effort to do something with a spreadsheet in the next 2 weeks.
Just look, try to do one simple. This is one I did a couple days ago. I built one to calculate my man hours. We have like other systems for that, but this one I just wanted to build a quick, simple one that I can just plug in a number and voila, it pops it out. So I can base our man hours off of like $350 a day for an 8-hour day for a person. Our numbers kind of work out to be a pretty good average. So it's not exact, but I just want a quick number so I get a quick idea. Okay, 132 man hours. How many days for 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys, 5 guys, so it spits out all those numbers. So all I had to have is one line where it's like our total price, $10,000. The other line is divided by 350. The other one is divided by 8. So it gives me man hours, and then times, or divided by 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys, 5 guys. So if I just punch in $10,000, there's my whole list of how many guys I would have there for how many days. 2 guys for 6.5 days, 3 guys for 4.5 days, whatever. It's like really simple to do stuff like that. It seems difficult at first, but if you just learn like a couple simple calculations, it's like really easy to do. It's worth it to try.
I was good at computer class. I took all those Excel classes, and I know how to do it.
Yeah.
It's sitting in front of a computer.
Yeah. Because
I'm the guy, I'll do it the first time.
Yeah.
And I'll never go look at that spreadsheet ever. Yeah.
I do that too. I'm guilty of that too. I have 30 tabs open on my computer right now of stuff that I'm going to get back to at some point. Constantly do that. But that's like, when I brought on the business consultant full time, I kind of told him, my other staff, like, my vision is that I want to be a rock star, and I want you guys to just make sure I don't go crazy, right? That's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to be the team that keeps me in check, lets me know how much money I can spend, how much I can't spend, Let me know if I need more projects or less projects or more employees or less employees. Like, I just want to go out there and do all that fun stuff. But you guys keep an eye on me that I'm not getting out of control, right? I'm not getting out of hand. Because that's my desire, and the fun part for me is like selling projects. You know, like it would be fun for me to be able to sell as much as possible, but I don't have the manpower to support it. You know, I can't even try it, right? So I just try to kind of take some of that motivation to like building a really clean company, you know, and having profit, you know, real profit, and cover the bills and schedules booked out and money's in the bank. Like, those are my goals now. They're kind of more boring, more grown up, but I have to direct it somewhere.
I love it. All right. What's your favorite piece of paint paraphernalia?
Boy, I think the newer one that I use probably most often is the little Purdy 5-in-1 that folds up. That thing is cool. I like that. Like, I have that and a little utility knife in my side door in my truck. You know, those are two that I've probably, those would be like the two things that I keep on me all the time, my entire career painting. But it's a cool little tool. I like that. The 5-in-1. You know, they have the other one, Z Corp or something like that. It has the blade on it, but it's too big and bulky.
Huge.
Yeah.
You're gonna dent a cabinet or scrap
Yeah.
walking through a job site with that thing on.
Yep. Yeah. So that's probably one that I still really use quite a bit today.
You strike me as the kind of guy that probably has the same utility knife that he's had for quite a while.
I definitely am a saver. I like to buy a nice utility knife and keep it forever. It drives me crazy when my guys, you know, if I get on site and it's like, I try to keep morale up, you know, and I don't want to be a boss who's like, I don't work, you guys work, you know, like that kind of stuff. I don't like that. So if I'm on a project a little early or something like that, like, you know, I'll help get the plastic sheeting pulled out or whatever. And if I get on a job site, I'm like, hey, where's your blade? You know, and one of my guys doesn't have a blade. Oh, I forgot it. I'm like, dude, that kills me. Because those are the only two things that I'm like, I always kept those on me at all times my entire painting career.
So my old crew always has a blade on them. I never have a blade on me.
Yeah.
I've owned 100 utility knives in my career.
Yeah.
I have a rich history of flying through and losing many, many, many. There's some little troll underneath the bridge that steals utility knives that's loving me.
Yeah.
But I think that's I struggle. I'm a energetic guy. It's all over the place, and I'm moving. And you got that like chill California thing going where I just you were someone that had the same. How old is your utility knife, you think?
Well, it might actually be a couple of years still. Yeah, I don't like buying the cheap ones. You know, I forget who. Maybe Alpha got a couple custom made ones, like some nice wood handles for the 5-in-1s. I think he gave one to Philip, and like that kind of stuff. I would take that. You know, like some custom wood handle, you know, on a 5-in-1 and keep it forever. That kind of stuff. I like that.
I would have to frame it and put it on a wall if I ever wanted to see it 2 years later.
Yeah, not me. I keep that stuff.
Stay away from that kind of stuff. I still, with utility knives, I'm buying the cheap utility knives because
I can't stand the cheap ones.
I just don't use them very much anymore.
Yeah.
And I buy the same ones from Home Depot all the time, the Husky.
Yeah.
And inevitably, I mean, it's just laughable how many I've lost at this point.
Yeah.
But my guys always have them on them.
Yeah. Gotta have it.
Definitely a better owner than I was employee.
Yeah.
I wasn't the best employee.
Yeah. I was a pretty good employee. I did what I was told.
I worked my butt off. From the second I showed up to the second the day ended, I was like so 100% focused on producing and at a high quality.
Yeah.
I was quite often told, like, hurry up, man. We're not getting paid to make it that nice.
Yeah.
Gotta chill out.
Yeah.
It's not a, like, we're not truly doing a restoration of these old windows that you need to scrape the loose paint, spot prime, and let's go.
Yeah.
And I'd be sitting there, like, wanting to sand it till you couldn't tell, like, feather the old to the new.
I was never a big details guy like that. I wanted to get in and get out. The thing that bothered me, the whole reason I started trying to go out on my own, was just because there's a income cap, working for another company. I didn't have potential for bonuses or anything like that. And it was like, I just want to have some more unlimited potential, It's the main thing. If my boss would have gave me a raise at the time before I left, I probably would have stayed at least a couple more years,
I've heard Johnny Horahan. Here's Johnny. He's one of the guys from Modern Craftsman podcast. He tells the same exact story.
Yeah.
He's like, I probably would never have started my company if my boss would have just recognized the value I was adding and gave me a little respect and actually gave me that small raise I requested.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely could have changed things. That was it. It was like, I need a little more earning potential. Yeah, and probably some appreciation, I'm sure, would have done something, for me. But it's all right.
Yeah.
All worked out.
Awesome. And then, yes. So now the best part is, this is my favorite question. This question's coming. Hopefully you had plenty of time to think about it. Give us your worst horror story, most embarrassing, biggest catastrophe that's ever happened in your painting career.
Boy, I don't know if it's most embarrassing, but we took on this project. It was like our first really big project. It was like 90 grand commercial building, and we did it. It was metal panels. They're like 3 feet tall, 15 feet wide, just flat metal panels on the outside of this building. And they had a coating on them already. But the walls are like 200 or 300 feet long, 3 stories high. So we got a couple booms out there. We did samples on the lower panels, like at standing level. And samples were great, perfect, laid out nice. Everything, we're using a 2-part product. And so we got approved, everything, we had a whole spec sheet done, everything. The owners of the building approved everything. And then when it was time to start production, we couldn't replicate it on a smooth 3-foot by 15-foot panel. This whole building is just smooth panels, so it's like you see spray lines, you see overnight, because of the moisture, the dew was creating fogging, blushing in the coating. It was a nightmare. I was there. We had 2 booms out there the whole time, because it's like, we didn't send them back because as soon as we get this finish right, we're going to knock it out, right? So I'm paying like $120 a day while I'm doing samples, I'm testing samples. And I was there. We had a regular work schedule going on, and I had to do those jobs to cover my losses here. So I would go there every day after work, like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and work on samples till like 7 or 8. And then go back the next day and see if they dried out all right or not. I did this for like, maybe 5 weeks trying to figure it out. We ended up scrapping that product and went with a different product. But man, that was a nightmare job. That was like, I learned a ton. That was a project where we got on the phone with the chemist, to figure out why it's fogging, if we can get it to stop blushing, if it's an overnight temperature thing, if it's dew point, if it's the temperature from inside affecting the outside coating, all that stuff. The types of thinners that we have. California has different thinner regulations, so we didn't get the good thinner here, like they have there. So it was a good learning project, but man, it was a nightmare. Finally, like once we got it sorted out, we were done in like 3 weeks, just bang through it. But I spent probably 5 weeks, nights and weekends, going there to figure it out. It was a nightmare. Great learning project though. We had to give a 2-year warranty on that project, and I didn't go drive by that building till that warranty was up. I didn't even want to see it. I was like, after 2 years, I went and checked it out. It's like, oh, this looks great still. But I did not want to. I just didn't even look at it. Couldn't even drive by it. Man.
What product did you use on it, and which one could you not get to your work?
So Depth 36 series, aliphatic polyurethane, and that one we have a different thinner for California than other parts of the country. So the thinner that we have has more acetone. It's a hotter thinner. So we tried to use some reducers to kind of balance it out, but we just couldn't. You know, and their specific sales rep came out, and we tested the panels a couple different ways. It's like, give it a week, the blushing will go away. We gave it a week, it didn't go away, and then we switched to what do we use? The is it Modern Masters theme paint. I think that's the brand, but it was like a high performance water base. So we used a 2-part epoxy primer and then a high performance water based finish, and it was great. And even now, it's like 9 years later, like looks amazing still. So it's good now, but it was a nightmare. But yeah, our thinners are a lot different here. Even our paint thinners are way different. Our lacquer thinners are different. So, yeah.
Crazy.
All right.
Well,
Yeah.
John, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for coming.
Man, it's fun. For sure. Take a deep dive on these apps one of these days.
Yes, I think we're going to have to schedule another podcast, and we'll just go over that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, we do some screen viewing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We may be. I'm contemplating switching over to true podcast format, not live.
Yeah.
So we don't have to deal with some of these live issues.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They happen just about every podcast.
Yeah.
So it's becoming, as we get higher and higher profile client guests on, such as yourself. We want to make sure that everything goes smooth. So I just got this fancy podcasting microphone.
Ah, nice.
And I'm going to experiment with it. And then I'll still probably do my live show on Sunday. But the interactions with the people who are watching are so valuable. So I'm kind of torn.
I think the live experience as a viewer, I think is way more interesting in being able to have some input and even inputting with the other guys on the show. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff is an actual fun experience.
Yeah.
Versus a podcast. I think your podcast, maybe for your big dogs, like that. So it's more formal,
Like when I have the architect on and it's lagging out, you're just like, oh man.
Yeah. He's a good listen. That's it. He's a fun guy to listen to.
Yeah. I really liked having him on. I have 2 more architects coming up these next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Next week I have an architect, and then I have one on the 22nd.
Yeah.
Both very different, but I think I really want to talk more to not just painters, but the designers and the architects and the people that can make our lives easy.
Yeah.
If they want to.
Mm-hmm.
And try to bridge that gap. I feel like there's such a gap between our community as painters and the design community and the architecture community.
Which is weird because we do interact a lot kind of on paper, Yeah,
I would think, but something about the way the dynamics are right now, it's not ideal. So
painters are lowly.
Yeah. I know.
Not anymore. Turning it around.
Absolutely. John, thanks a lot.
Got it, man. Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right, you too.